Welcome to the channel, my friends. My name is Don, and behind me is the first car that I have ever owned. And for the last 21 years, this 1970 Chevelle SS has been by my side through thick and thin. I drove this car as my daily driver for years upon years. From first dates to fender benders to driving this thing across country, I have lived most of my adult life with this incredible bucket of bolts attached to my hip. And here we are 21 years later, and this car is a mess. It's battle worn, it's been caught on fire, it's got dings and dents. It doesn't run right, it doesn't look right, and I take all the responsibility. I put so much effort into the channel, into the shop, that this thing has been stricken by the wayside, and it doesn't feel good. Now, this special piece of history is what actually sparked my passion for fabrication. It was the catalyst that actually got me into starting my own shop. Originally, this was supposed to be a project that me and my father were going to do together. It was his idea, and we found the car, but unfortunately, he passed away. After I lost my dad, I couldn't stop with the dream, so I kept it. I kept the car, and I built it over and over again. It was one of the things that shaped my life. From learning how to work basic hand tools to having to find a job to afford the tools and the parts for the car. It set me on a course in my life that I never thought that I would ever be on. I want to make the old man proud, and this car has given me so much in this life. It's time that I get back to it. Now, this is how we're going to do it. This is going to be a three-part process. First, we're going to rip out all the old clunky drag race suspension. We're going to update it with a more modern version that's going to allow us to drag race and time attack and actually make this car handle. Second is we're going to replace every single body panel on this car that is bad. Dings and dents and rot are all going to be gone, and we're going to replace everything with brand new pieces. We have a very special friend that came through. He gave us all the body panels to make this car whole again. And then third, I'm going to go through everything mechanical on this car and make it sound. This is super exciting for me. I can't wait to bring you guys on the journey. And yeah, let's build a Chevelle. All right. Enough talking, it is time to finally dive in and work on the Chevelle. So I told you there's gonna be three phases, and phase number one is gonna be this.
Phase one.
We are gonna rip out all the old suspension on the Chevelle, and we're gonna install a whole new system to make this car react like a modern supercar. Drum beats. And we have, whoa, this whole kit from RideTech came through, and these guys absolutely hooked me up.
RideTech is a wild little company that started off in Jasper, Indiana in 1996, manufacturing air ride suspension products as Air Ride Technologies. Over time, the company has evolved into RideTech, offering both air and coilover suspension systems for both classic and late model cars and trucks. They have the technology to take old jalopies like this and turn them into absolute hammers.
So if you guys know anything about a 1970 Chevelle, you know they drive like a bag of potatoes. Then if you did what I did, made it into a drag car, it's even an extra bag of potatoes, which means it doesn't drive very well at all. The original control arms that came with the Chevelle were all stamped steel and they flexed. RideTech came through and had this double shear lower control arm that they designed so there's no deflection. So that means we're gonna make this thing sturdier. Then what they did is they changed some of the plot points with the upper and lower control arm. Here's the upper tubular piece here. And they actually added in 1 3/4 inches of height to the spindle. This allows for better control on the pitch of the upper and lower control arm. So long story short, they changed a lot of the original factors that made the front of the suspension handle so bad. We are now running an adjustable coilover so we can adjust the dampening effects with this unit. The rear is all tubular as well, so we're going to get rid of that deflection as we talked about earlier. Then everything has Delrin bushings in it, 13% I believe Teflon in it, so there's no need to grease any of these pieces. You don't have to plug in a grease gun and go. This is just plug and play. You bolt it in and forget about it. With this RideTech suspension, we're gonna rip this car out of the past, propel it into the future, and now create a 70s Chevelle that can handle like a modern day muscle car. We're gonna have the Corvette feel, and now be able to drive this car everywhere and actually enjoy it. So let's dig in.
It's time to light them fires and kick them tires, boy. Let's get to it.
P.S. RideTech, thank you for sponsoring me. It means a lot. I wanna be your best friend. Here we go.
Okay, so here's the plan. I'm gonna demolish the whole front of the car and take everything apart to give myself enough room to get to the upper and lower control arms for the new build. We are gonna replace the fenders later on in the next episode, so as for now, I'm just gonna take everything apart. Next up is the radiator. I'm gonna pull that right out. And then we're gonna move on to the driver's side fender. Once this is removed, we have ourselves a clean slate, just one more piece to go.
It's nice to see all the sheet metal on this old girl.
Once we rip off the wheels, we start diving into the upper and lower control arms, but first I have to take off the tie rod ends. Removal of both upper and lower control arms in the Chevelle are pretty easy. The only hard part is actually taking out the springs, which you'll see next. Holy moly, I have no clue what I put in here a couple years ago, but these springs are way too long. I didn't show it on the video, I didn't get to capture it, but it was pretty dangerous trying to pop these things out. Now that we have removed the old tired suspension, it's time to get back into the building phase.
Now that the car is stripped, it is time to start building this thing up. We're going to start installing our front coilovers, but first we have to build them. This is a pretty simple process. All you do is you get the bottom cup, Spin these bad Larrys on. There's a locking retainer right here that we'll tighten up later on. A little spacer here. We're going to install our coil. Bang. Then from there, it is another spacer with our top retaining ring. Then from there, boom, boom. We're gonna tighten this up. We're gonna put our spacer on just for now to hold this thing together until we actually get ready, because we have some other stuff that we have to do to get the front suspension ready. So I'll go ahead and build these two, and we'll start installing them. All right, let's install the upper control arms, but I wanted to show you a cool feature of these units. So RideTech actually gives you these machine spacers. These go in the back, and you can buy different assortment or different offsets of these. So when these press in, it changes the spacing on the upper control arm, and that's how you control caster. It slides like this in the car itself. So a really cool feature that you can use down the road to change your caster settings. So this is gonna be very handy.
First up on the docket is popping in these new grease fittings, and then we're gonna start installing our upper control arms.
All right, this should go right up in here. That's the pockets right. We got a little shim. You know, I'm gonna open the hole up a little bit more. You have to open up these holes in the original hole size. Is that it? There we go. Okay, so bottom of the cup is in. Up and at them. Cup. I'm gonna get the old bolt magoo on here. All right, we'll start loosely placing the lower control on this so I can kind of guide it together like a little puzzle, then I'll start tightening everything up. Let's see if I can slide this thing in. I know that. Is it gonna fit? Oh, that means that these weren't crushed. That's nice. Usually these lips here, they get shrunken over the years from people over tightening them. Luckily, I never did that. Not yet. There we go. Caparoonies. Washing on down. Oh, wrong washers. I wonder what this thing's gonna feel like. I haven't driven this thing in years. When I used to drive it, it was a freaking nightmare. It's gonna be pretty fun to drive this thing now. It's almost too nice for the car. It's like it makes me want to paint the car now. But not this episode. All right, that looks sick. Let's bolt up the other side and then we'll go ahead and tighten everything up.
And on the passenger side, I'm just going to repeat the process. Upper control arm, coil over gets bolted in, raise up the lower control arm, bolt it up, and then snug it in, and we're good to go.
So most of the suspension's on now. All we're going to do is rip off these old rotors. Oh, we almost hit that. Yeah. All right. So we'll pull off these rotors and hammer on down, and we'll finish this up. Last time that we actually dynoed this thing, I ran out of turbo. Oh my God, that was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. 982, I had like 18 pounds of boost. And the bottom end's built to around 1300. So, hopefully if we change the turbo, get this thing rocking and rolling, we should be able to make up to 1,000. Scary. There we go. So we're gonna reuse these. I'm gonna clean it. This, we're gonna need some grease. That's it. So now nut, brakes, we'll drop it on the ground. I got to get tie rods. I damaged one of them taking off, so we'll put new tie rods in this thing. But the front's pretty much locked in. Right around 13 pounds. There we go. She's smooth. For this, we're good.
Grab those snacks, my friend. We're going to take a stroll down memory lane.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Today on this episode, we're going to crash my new truck.
Before we finish the suspension in the rear of the Chevelle, I wanted to show you an incredible shop upgrade we got a few weeks ago.
Strong Hand Tools came in for the win and gave us a new 4x8 welding table. First off, I want to say thank you to Strong Hand Tools. If it's not for people like this company here, I wouldn't be able to pursue my dream. Let's be honest, I'm a small-time content creator. I just started, so for people to believe in the cause, because I sure know I believe in this whole thing, it means the world to me. So I want to start pushing the builds. I want to start getting more creative, and I need more space. So my Strong Hand Tools coming through. With this unit here, we now have a larger fixture table to create and get weird with. So guys, if you're watching this, I love you, and thank you for this because you're helping me make my dream come true. And on that note, let's, looks like we have to build it, so I guess we'll just, we'll get down.
Now, for all of you who've been with me since the very beginning, you guys all know that I actually started my shop at the same time as I started this channel. I moved into this garage in my hometown and started everything from scratch. So what you see through the evolution of the channel is me actually building the shop and building my project at the same time. Now, I knew that venturing into YouTube and starting my own shop was going to be ultra hectic, but I've been dreaming about this idea for the last 5 years, so I had to just jump in. I got myself mentally ready to do some overtime and dive into work so I can fund this whole thing myself. I was totally ready to do this all alone, and then something very magical happened. The channel actually started to work, and as I grew and I grew, people started to notice the El Camino and the Chevelle build, and I slowly worked on my editing and my filming, and the videos got a little better and better each time. As this process happened, I started to make some friends in the industry, and this is where the magic happened. I had some good people rooting for me that actually came on board to help me move this channel forward. I want to give a huge thank you to everybody who follows me and subscribes to this channel. You guys are making this thing work. And for all the sponsors who are coming on board to help me make this dream a reality. Stay tuned for future videos as we actually dive into the new Strong Hand Tools table and show you all the key features. It's going to be a game changer for us and how we actually can create in the future.
Rev up your engine! Today on TN.
All right, let's kick it back into overdrive and finish the rear suspension in the Chevelle and get this thing back on the ground. First on the docket is we're going to remove the old wheel and tire combination. Then we proceed to move to the drive shaft and pull this thing out because I'm going to pull out the whole rear end, which I'll tell you why in a little bit.
That's cool. Look, he's carrying a container. Check that out.
But first we're going to remove both rear coilovers. Everything in the back is going to get stripped off, so coilovers come out. Then I work on the lower control arm. Then we start lowering the unit and start pulling out the coil springs themselves. Now to get this thing down by myself, what I did is an old school trick my old man taught me. You get one of the upper arms and you let it just drag itself down. It's kind of an easy way to get a rear end down if you're just by yourself. I don't recommend it, but I did it. We're going to drag the rear differential to the welding table, and I'll show you again here in a minute what we're going to do to that thing. Then from there, I just started stripping the rear. Everything comes out. Upper coils, old anti-roll bar. Then we're going to give a little sweep and clean up the shop and get ready for some fab work. Now here's the fun part. We're going to put the rear differential up on the table, and I'm going to start cutting off the old brackets. Now Ridetech gives you brackets for a stock 12 bolt, which I don't have in this car. A lot of you guys can tell this is a older style Ford 9-inch. So what they do, they supplied newer brackets. I had to strip off the old ones, and then I aligned them, and I made myself a small tool here to help me center both of the brackets in space. Some measurements, we popped them back on, and we're going to start welding them up. These brackets come with more holes, allowing for more adjustability down the road. Once it was done, we moved it outside and I prepped it for paint. We are going to start installing all our upper and lower control arms to get this thing ready. Off camera, I did some prep work and actually painted the aft of the car underneath. So I wanted to show you this cool piece that Ridetech makes. So on the 70 Chevelle chassis or these A-bodies, these brackets here are known to have some problems. They rip, they tear, they bend when you put big power to them. They're just stamped steel. The chassis itself is actually pretty stout, but these brackets are a little on the light side. So what Ridetech did is I came up with these brackets here. It pops in, attaches from this point to that point, and you adjust it and actually put a preload on it so this guy can't rip forward and this guy can't rip aft. Cool little easy fix to really strengthen this chassis right here. So we're going to go ahead and drop these in and we're going to do rock and roll. Now that we got our new brackets in, it's time to move to a rear differential install. All right, you ready?
This directs me very well.
Everybody, this is Stephanie. This is my emotional support helper. She keeps me intact, and you're gonna be my muscle. You ready? One thing we cannot scratch. Well, we can. We probably are gonna scratch it. I'll bring it down and then try to grab the stuff that won't get scratched. Nah, try to grab the lower where you, see that down here, this bracket? Yeah. All right. Wish we got a rag.
Can you hold it like that?
Yep.
Where's our rag?
Up in the front somewhere. Ooh, it's okay if we scratch. I can touch it up. Oh, I don't think I can hold this anymore. Don't worry about it. You got it? Right in the bottom of that thing.
It's not even touching. Oh, wait, this is rotating. Okay?
Yep. Oh, I gotta grab this side. Good. Take it slow and low. You good?
Yep.
Okay. Pour paint.
We're gonna so slowly jack this thing up. We're not gonna drop it. We are not gonna drop it.
1, 2, 3. All the holes are matched up.
Then we're gonna build our rear coilovers the same way we did for the front. We're gonna move them to the back. Installation is pretty simple with just 2 bolts for each one.
You approve?
B minus.
Pete, what?
It's good.
That looks so sick.
Final assembly, brakes go back on, and we are getting close to the end line here, my friends. Then we have to do some drilling to get our upper rear sway bar mounts in. Pretty simple installation. One of the holes already marked. From there, I just added a second hole and bolted these in. This is pretty trick when it comes to the rear anti-roll bar. This is actually adjustable. You can actually change the preload on the rear end by sliding these couplers back and forth. We're going to move to our passenger side, get those brackets in. There's a sliding action I was telling you about. This is how we actually slide them back and forth to change the load. Once we cinch these things down, we are almost done. I'm going to pop the old drive shaft in. I didn't see any damage on it, so it looks like it's good for another round. All right, my friends, putting the wheels back on, and we're going to see what this old rig looks like. Put our front anti-roll bar in before the big reveal. I wanted to get the car level. This was the last thing I had to do, and once it's in, we are finished. So attaching the anti-roll bar or sway bar to the front of this car is actually super simple. 2 brackets bolt to the frame, and then from there, 2 attachment points that hold on to the sway bar bolt to that. Very simple, very easy, super quick. This will be the first time the 70 Chevelle has had an anti-roll bar in the last 21 years.
Holy moly. Look at that. You can really see the 2-inch drop on the front and rear. It looks like a car again. Oh, that is so sick.
Another episode is in the books, my friends. We are one step closer to finally getting the Chevelle rocking and rolling. If you like what I'm doing, like and subscribe and come join the family. Stay tuned as next episode we dive in and actually get this thing running. Hope all is well, my friends. See you all soon. Toodaloo!